Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Jordan and I help people expand their minds and get in touch with their sense of self-care and their mind-body-soul connection. So welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about throat chakra, which is the chakra of communication. It's in our neck, mouth, ears, and throat. And this is all about expressing yourself, communicating with the world, and expressing your authentic truth and conveying who you are. Expression of our truth. I mean, that's conveying who you are. Some people really just go through life trying to please everybody else. But at the end of the day, life's too short to make other people comfortable. Life is just too short not to go through life and say to everybody else and even to yourself when you get up and look in the mirror in the morning, hey, I love you, I'm awesome, and I'm gonna kick ass. And just literally saying that to the whole world, gosh, you don't need to be validated when you walk around with that kind of intensity. But I digress. Communicating and expressing your truth without the need to be validated by others. It's communicating your truth without feeling like you need others' approval. It's just like saying, hey, this is me. This is who I am. Take it or leave it. And it's about communication, verbal and nonverbal, because, you know, as they say, 75% of the communication that we put out is nonverbal. So this takes us to a place of understanding that 3/4 of the communicating that comes out of our throat is little micro expressions, things that we don't say. Things like when, you know, you told somebody that you were okay with something and they look at you and go, I know you said you were okay with that, but your face said otherwise. And it's so important to be mindful of how we're coming across. Not just what we're saying, but what our body is saying. What our body is saying, whether we're talking to somebody and we've got our arms closed, and that's saying that you're really closed off and you're not open and reciprocal to somebody. You've got your arms closed and you're like this just says that you are not approachable. Or you're trying to talk to somebody and they're facing a sort of away from you. They're kind of paying attention to something else, and they're half paying attention to you. Body language is everything. Body language is 75% of the communication that we put out and receive. And receiving is another big thing too, because like I said, ears have a part to play in the throat chakra. It's also about what you take in. Whether you're somebody that is actually mindful of what you listen to, or whether you're somebody that really likes to repeat what you say back to what you hear back to yourself, or whether you're just somebody that likes to talk to people and take out the little bits that you want to hear, and then, you know, like selective hearing, and just, yeah, I'm just gonna take out the little bits that were important to me and just gloss over the other stuff. Meanwhile, you've got your partner coming back at you next week saying, hey, I thought I told you about this last week, and you're going, yeah, I heard what I wanted to hear. That's all too common, isn't it? Throat is also so much about projecting your manifestations, because if you, and this can be done in so many ways, but if a person wrote down their manifestations, or when they woke up in the morning, they said their intentions for the day, or out to the universe, or maybe they're in some kind of 21-day challenge of getting up in the morning and just telling yourself, hey, I believe myself, or I forgive myself. Those kind of things are so connected to throat, because it's like linguistic programming. The things that you say to yourself matter. Let me repeat that. The things that we say to ourselves matter. You're literally programming yourself. When you talk to yourself in a negative or a positive way, that's why affirmations are such a big deal. If I haven't already hammered it in on any of my other chakra videos, affirmations are such a big deal, because you're talking to yourself, and you're literally telling yourself, I'm a crappy person. I'm a crappy person. I hate my life. I hate my life. Well, then that's what your whole aura thinks that you... But if you sit here and you tell yourself, I'm a wonderful person and I love myself every day, gosh, wouldn't you just believe it? So it's linguistic programming. It's just like saying out to the rest of the world, when you talking about love languages, like if your love languages is words of affirmation, or your partner's is, then they really respond to telling them things, expressing theirself and expressing themselves, and they want to be heard, and they want to be able to hear you. But speaking out, but that kind of gets off track. Now we're getting into love languages. Speaking manifestations, I really, really want to cover that wholly and completely, because there's something huge there. There's not an understatement when we say you are in control of your reality. You can program your reality by telling your roommates that you appreciate them, and just telling the certain people in your life certain things. It's like gratitude practice. Think The Secret and Law of Attraction. If you do a gratitude practice every day, and you fill out things that you are grateful for, or you even just tell your partner every day, hey, I'm so grateful for you that you did this, you're projecting the positive things that you're appreciative for, and then therefore the universe is going to respond in kind and give you more of those things, because you're telling the universe, hey, I like this thing, I want more of it. But you're not putting it out in a position of lack. You're just telling the universe, hey, I really liked this, I was really grateful for that, can I have some more of it? And then the universe goes, yeah, sure, great. That's how manifesting works. But manifesting is all about the throat, and it's all about what you're saying to the universe and yourself. And okay, well, let's go back to love languages, because that matters so much. And like I said, the throat really is so tied to other chakras. Like, it's tied to sacral in asking yourself the hard questions and journaling about your feelings and your relationships. It's tied to the heart chakra in loving yourself and talking to yourself kindly. Talking to yourself, well, with love. instead of talking to yourself like you're a piece of trash, because so much of our society nowadays just has such an issue with talking to ourselves like we're somebody that we love. Talk to yourself like you are somebody that you love. And I know that sounds cheesy, but like I've really seriously put a lot of thought lately into this idea that we should talk to your ego like it's your best friend that hates on themselves. So like when you catch yourself in a moment of negative self-talk, you can just take hold of that moment and flip the script. Pretend that your negative self-talk is your best friend who's talking to you like, or talking to themselves like they suck. However you need to think about this, whatever you need to do to make it work, I don't care. But start getting into a frame of thinking where you are stepping outside of your negative self-talk and catching yourself when you're in those moments, and start talking to yourself as if you are your best friend. That's kind of like, gosh, like just think about your ego like he's this like agoraphobic, antisocial, like wreck that doesn't want you to do anything, that doesn't want you to do anything scary, doesn't want you to step outside of your comfort zone, doesn't want you to take that job, doesn't want you to quit this one, doesn't want you to do anything scary or step outside of your comfort zone, because that's what ego does. It wants us to be safe, because the ego's job is survival, and that's it. It just wants us to survive, getting by on exactly who we are. But that's not where growth is. So we need to get better at talking to our ego and our negative self-talk like it is our friend that's really negative towards himself, and just flip the script and get better at turning around that talk. And when you catch yourself talking to yourself and thinking, oh well, I don't know if people are just gonna respond to this idea, and like I know I had a really great idea for a new business, but I don't know if people are gonna really respond to that, or if anybody's gonna really take it, you know? And you're just sitting here spiraling in self-talk, and that well honestly happens right after you come up with some of the best stuff. And honestly, it's happened to me so many times, and I'm just trying to get way better at flipping the script on my self-talk and turning around and going, hey, wait a second. Weren't you just really ecstatic with yourself and felt like you were on top of the world after you had that idea come to you and you really formulated all of this? So what are you doing the next day later, talking to yourself like this is just never going to go anywhere? Just stop doing that. Stop. You were in a really great mood when you came up with this idea. So just hold on to that. Like, let's just get better at talking to ourselves like that. Go figure. It is really important to understand that there are different love languages. You've got acts of service, words of affirmation, physical touch, quality time, and receiving gifts. And all of those things are a language in itself. So in the same way that we convey our communication through not just our body language, but the things that we do, then it's important to understand that with love, with not just your intimate partner, but everybody around you, is so important to understand how you properly receive love and how they do. Because I'm touching on it in throat, because I know it didn't get touched on enough in heart, because this is about communication. It's not just about love. And it's not just about your intimate partners. It's about whether you are somebody who really appreciates when your friend brings you a coffee, or you're somebody who really appreciates having friends that actually check up on you often, rather than if somebody just isn't very big on words of affirmation at all very much, then they're not going to be somebody that really cares to be checked up on all the time. But if somebody's big love language is words of affirmation, then that person is going to want to be validated, often in the sense of, just shoot them a text, or see how they're doing here and there. Or if it's your partner, make sure you're communicating with them all the time. Make sure you're sending them a little good morning message, or if you live together, leave them little notes or something just to show that you care. Those kind of little words of affirmation are so big, just to show people that you care and that you're thinking of them. And there's also physical touch and just quality time, making sure you're spending time with people and letting them know that you value their time is a really great, a really, really valued love language too, because a lot of people nowadays, they get so caught up in their busy lives that they just tend to forget, and so a lot of people are really bad at being flaky on plans now, or going months without talking to somebody and thinking that that's okay. Or on the other hand, we have those relationships too where they could just thrive on barely talking for a few months. But something that I realized was an issue for me recently, actually, was, give an example that I think a lot of people can probably relate to, is that feeling when you have that friend that you could go months without talking to them, and the friendship is fine, it's intact, it's not going anywhere, but something happens when we get comfortable with those friendships. Sometimes we literally do go months without talking, and as great as that is, not every best friendship is like that. I've had a lot of old friends in my life where we were like that, and I was able to just go about my everyday life, barely talk to them, and still say that they were one of my best friends. I still have one or two people that are like that, and we're both reciprocal that way, and neither of us judge each other. A phone works both ways kind of saying. But I realized I had this one friend that was like one of my best friends, one of my oldest friends, and I always kind of thought that we had that relationship. But then, as it turned out, he was having a lot of things going on with him in his personal life this year, and so did I. So did we all. 2020 has been a really, really wild year, but I actually came to this point where I realized that I just we weren't connecting enough. And I talked to him about it, and I said, hey, I just feel like we're not as close as we usually are. I want to be better, and I want to be as close as we used to be. I know we haven't talked much this year, but he had a lot of stuff personal going on in his life, while at the same time I felt like, and this maybe part of a man thing, or I'm not sure. And I'm just navigating, trying to really communicate in all of my relationships a lot better. But I felt that since he had reached out to me and we had talked, like, I don't know, once every couple of weeks for a couple months or so, that it was okay and everything was fine. And then I just got to this point where I was like, I feel like we need to touch base again. And then all of a sudden, he really flipped the script on me, and he kind of came back at me with this energy of, oh, well, like, I do know that obviously we're never going to forget about each other, but sometimes I still need that little bit of reassurance that you're there, that you support me, that you're thinking of me, even if it's a couple times a week. I know I'm not always the best at communicating, but as your best friend, my best friend, I'm just asking you to please make more of an effort. This was actually a really big wake-up call for me, because I realized that not all of our best friends are the type of best friend that you can just go a month without talking to. So it's important to understand where you stand with different people and how different people receive care and love from their loved ones. Not everybody is going to be that person that feels like they're fine if you haven't talked to them in a couple months. Some people feel like they want to talk to you often. Go figure. Now, some ways that you may be able to tell that you have an imbalance in the throat is if you're somebody that has trouble speaking, like literally has trouble speaking. I used to have the worst problem with stuttering imaginable when I was a kid. When I was much younger, and I even went to speech therapy for it. It was bad. I got picked on relentlessly. Kids are tough. Kids are so brutal. So brutal. Bad. But we get better. And just generally a lack of control over speech, or speaking inappropriately, speaking too much or not enough, feeling like you have no voice, or like you're meek, like you just don't know what to say, or feeling like you're not very assertive with your voice is another really low end of the imbalance of having a really weak sacral. Feeling like you just don't have the confidence to speak your truth. You just don't know how to assert yourself with people and be honest. Hell, like I said earlier, life's too short to feel like you need to be validated by everyone, and life's too short to make everyone else comfortable. So just speak your mind. But some of us have issues with that, and we're only human, and we can't be absolutely in alignment all the time. But these are really great ways to know when you're in and out of alignment. Excessive speaking, like you just talk all the time, and like you're just somebody who doesn't shut up, or especially when you get into a situation where you're the type of person who should listen before you speak, or you listen to reply instead of listening to understand and respond after the fact. Or if you're, like, for instance, if you're somebody that interrupts all the time and you just have to get your word in, or you always have to have the last word in what's being said, that's a big one too. If you're in arguments and disputes with people and you always have to have the last word, oh God, aren't those people just draining? But we learn, we grow. excessive secretiveness or shyness or keeping a lot of secrets, feeling like you can't share your truth with the world, or you just literally generally have a lot of secrets, or like a lot of things that you don't want to tell people. Or on the other hand, if you're somebody that has a hard time hearing people, like, I mean, deaf, literally, yes, is a symptom. But if you're somebody that's like ignorant, closed-minded, and you just have a hard time listening to others, they could tell you a whole thing and you'll take out a couple of words of it. I mean, it kind of goes back to selective hearing, but some people are just shrouded in ignorance, and you know, it's like you tell them something and they just simply don't want to hear you. That's it. Their ears work fine. They just, for whatever reason, they're stubborn or ignorant towards a certain issue, or they're just, maybe you're trying to explain feminism to a misogynist. They just don't want to hear you. That's it. Or a lack of connection to communicating their purpose in life to yourself or to others, and really speaking about what you want to do with your life, and really just being authentic about that. That's it for really imbalancey type things. Having a fear of public speaking. This one's huge. Huge, huge, huge. Some people are so afraid to get up on stage or get, up to do this class project, oral presentation in school, or get up and present an idea in front of their boss or at work, or, in work meetings, or any situation, doesn't matter. Public speaking is so big, or really just having a fear of speaking in general. Physical signs for imbalances could include issues with your thyroid, neck, shoulders. I mean, this is like the bridge from your heart to your throat. Doesn't matter. Jaw issues, mouth, tongue, teeth, ears, hearing, it's all connected. Any of those physical symptoms can play out as manifestations of an imbalance. Ways that you can really heal an imbalanced throat chakra are all about sound healing. Singing, expressing yourself, just, whether it's going to karaoke on a Tuesday night or just rocking out to some tunes in the kitchen and singing with your family, or singing Disney songs with the kids, whatever your thing may be. Mudras, mantras, affirmations are so big for throat. I didn't already say that enough. But sound baths too, like throat chakra, binaural beats, really so many different versions of sound healing can help for throat chakra, because you're taking it in, you're hearing it, and it's all connected. Whether it be drumming, going to a drumming circle, listening to some drumming on YouTube, or maybe you have a singing bowl, or you go to a singing bowl circle, or whatever. There's lots of stuff in lots of local communities too. Like, I know my community has lots of little shops that do little gatherings and circles for sound baths and things like that. So if you look into it, there's some pretty cool stuff that you can find in your community. but there's also always a wealth of knowledge and information online. You can search on YouTube and look up different kinds of healing sound baths, and you will not be amiss. As well as journaling, not just in a sense of connecting with your sacral, but journaling because you're talking to yourself. When you're journaling, you're literally talking to yourself. Whether it's in the form of journal promptee, asking yourself questions and then answering them, or whether it's in the form of like, you know, emotion reflect or different kind of reflective journaling, like diary format, like, you know, talking about what's going on in your life. That stuff is all very good for throat because you're talking to yourself. You're talking to the page. Like I said with sacral, the hand thinking is the hand writing is the hand thinking. And that was said by Jan Zwicky. She's a Canadian author. Blue foods too are really, really, you know, anything light blue. Like I've got a light blue sweater on. Dressing for your chakra, you know, you can, whether it's nail polish or the clothes you put on in the day, it's anything that you tell yourself, this is for my chakra. And foods start to get a little bit out of the color range on this one because it's about things that are good for your throat too. Go figure. Raw honey, apples, blueberries, apricots, coconut water, mint tea, really a lot of different teas. Heck, even warm water or warm milk and honey. Yeah, anything that just is really soothing on your throat. I mean, if you think sore throat remedies, that clears up pretty good. Like even ginger honey lemon tea is a really good one with ginger and honey and lemon. That's a really good one. It's always one of my go-tos. Crystals too. If you want to bond with crystals over it, and whether that means meditating with different crystals or putting them in your pocket and just carrying them around with you about your day, or put them on a necklace. With throat, you're looking at blue lace agate, amazonite, sodalite, lapis lazuli, blue howlite. These are all stones that are very good at supporting our communication and our authenticity of really putting ourselves out there. I've got a couple, there's a blue howlite and a sodalite. I've always really liked sodalites, and especially lapis. I've got one here I've got around my neck. Let's just see that there. Yeah, that's pretty much it, except for a few really, really great affirmations for throat. I speak my truth. I am authentic with myself. I am authentic with myself. I speak my gratitude. I love myself. I forgive myself. These are all really great things you can say to yourself every day, or anytime you feel like your throat just needs a boost. communicate openly to others. Just say these things to yourself in the morning or in the middle of the day. Try to make it a goal to pick one affirmation and say it every day, once a day for a week, and see where you are with that. Then pick another one and just go through them and try different methods of boosting that chakra and working with it, and try singing, try talking to people more, and just get creative with it. The only one that's going to judge you is you. And stop judging yourself. Don't do that. Just try it out. Try some of these things out and see where they get you. You know, if all else fails, you'll be drinking honey water and you'll have a really great feeling throat. And you'll feel like you're so much more connected to yourself and your sense of communication with yourself. Try talking to people with a little bit more love. Try talking to yourself with a little bit more love. Try hearing people a little bit better. Try, listening to what people have to say, waiting for them to finish, and then responding instead of listening to reply halfway through. Just try being more open and communicative. Anyway, that's all I've got on that for today. I hope that resonated with anybody, and if it did, like or subscribe, throw a comment down there. I love to hear feedback. If you tried any of those things and they're working for you, I'd love to hear about that too. But that's all for me for now, for today. Much love, peace, love, skål. Have a great day. Thanks.